Hello. Welcome back to Love from Leo. My name is Tay, otherwise known as Love from Leo, and today I'm giving you sister soul vibes. I am in my element. I'm very comfortable right now. So I think that's very reminiscent of the moon energy. So that's what we're talking about today. So the moon energy is always going to influence what's going on internally with you as a person. In your natal chart, you have so many placements. All the planets that are in the solar system are also located in your chart in different houses. So in your chart, depending on where it is placed, will show you where your moon sign is. Your moon sign is going to show you the emotional aspect of yourself, kind of like what you're comfortable with. It could also show aspects of how you viewed your mother while you were growing up. It has lots of ties to what makes you comfortable, what makes you uncomfortable. I would say it's tied to lots of triggers from your past. The moon is all about what's already been known, so what's already been shown. It's the unknown because it's still things that you need to tap back into to understand yourself better, but it's also been illuminated already, just like the phases of the moon. You go from a new moon, which is really dark, and then you travel all the way to a full moon, which is bright, and it's still dark because it's nighttime, but the moon illuminates whatever is directly around it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the moon will show you aspects of yourself in a different light. So it still is a form of light. It's just an internal light. So with that being said, if that makes sense to you, then give me a thumbs up. But okay, so let me try to break it down a little bit more for those of you who are still a little confused. So with the moon is about femininity, not in a energetic or aesthetic way. It's not like that. It's like what the mother embodies, what the woman embodies as far as the signature that it carries. So that would be nurturing. That would be trying to grow something. That's planting something. That is, what's another word that I could use for that? Developing. I feel like even the sense of just being comfortable, like when you're a baby or when you're a mother, you're going to carry your baby like in a secure way. They're going to be bundled up, they're going to be warm. So it's like this sense of security. That's what your moon sign will represent. So we're not going to get into exactly what each sign is in this particular video. I'll have another one where I talk about what sign means what for each, placement in the moon, position. But I do have some tarot cards here to kind of intuitively explain to you guys like what the moon can mean and how it can influence you in your chart. So right here we have two chariot cards from two different decks. So as you can see with the blue card here, it's very feminine. And then over here with this darker card, it's a little bit more masculine and assertive with what the depictions are trying to portray. But this is very, I feel like this showcases what the moon, how powerful the moon can be, even though it comes up as subdued or submissive or soft or delicate. Right here we see someone is cradling something, growing something. Obviously it's a baby, but I think it's important to realize the mother here is a female and the baby is a male. So whatever this mother is doing for the male or for the child per se, it's almost like planting a seed, because this child will then grow up not only having influences from the mom, I'm not saying that, but internally that's kind of the first source that you have when you are a baby. So that's how you can envision your moon sign. So your moon is like where you come from. It's your roots, it's your foundation. It's not who you are in totality, but it is who you are at your core. It is who you are whenever you're most comfortable. It is who you are when you're around your family. It is who you are when you're around people that make you feel safe and comfortable, no matter who they are. So I do think that's important to point out. It could be like a nurturing feeling, or it could be what this chariot card represents, which is kind of like merging two things together. So with your moon sign, I feel like it's very important to understand that whenever you are dealing with astrology in particular, when you're starting off with your sun sign, that's what you are showing. That's what you portray. That's how you show off your moon sign. Your moon sign is really who's in control. It's the behind the scenes. It's the production of it all. So this card right here is kind of like merging what you can't see, which is the unknown, your moon sign, with what you can see, which is the sun. So when you merge these two together, it's kind of like the end-all picture. The end-all be-all is the stage above the ground, which is you. And underground is how you're going to represent yourself, which would be the character. And then the moon sign is more so of who you are. It's actually who you are. But you want to figure out how you can show this to other people. Does that make sense? So it's so internal that it starts to exude outwardly just because of how internal it is. It's like it's who you... It's no matter how you come across to other people, no matter what your sun sign is, aka, you're still going to always have that energy signature of your moon sign, because that is who you are at your core. That's what you're comfortable with. You don't think with your moon sign. Your moon sign is just how you intuitively are with yourself. So it's like, let's say you are a Virgo moon like myself. So you may naturally be comfortable with trying to organize certain things in your life, or try to perfect things, or try to heal things in parts of your life, or nurture things in parts of your life, or assist things and serve things in parts of your life. But if you have a sun in a more dominant sign, then that could kind of play out in that way, where you have to then balance, how do you showcase that? How do you show your moon sign? So that's why it's like you won't always know someone's moon sign just by meeting them. You have to kind of be around them a little bit. You probably have to talk to them a little bit. You may even have to be just around them just to see how they move. Moon signs are a little bit more delicate, and they're more detailed in how it makes up who the person is. You know what I'm saying? So it's more in depth than when it comes to sun signs or rising signs. Now, I pulled the 2 High Priestess cards from 2 different decks, just to kind of show, like, they both have this, like, moon shape, but this one literally has the moon. And it's just about internally knowing something. So it doesn't mean that you have all the answers, but it's like you know something in your gut. It's intuitive, which is what the moon represents in totality. It's what you do when you're not thinking. It's what your animalistic side is, even if it is softer or more aggressive. So that's kind of like how you can understand your moon sign when it comes to you. It's your animalistic nature. Not to say that it's aggressive all the time. It just means it's who you are without thinking. It's how you react emotionally to things without thinking. So that's why a lot of people will be like, oh, what sign are you? And then you tell them what sign you are, and then they're like, oh, I didn't think that's what you were. If you're really close to that person, then they'll see like a different side of you. They're not seeing the sun, they're seeing the moon. All right, and so I also pulled the Star card. Now, this one isn't directly related to the Moon card, but for some reason I wanted to pull this card. So I did want to say that the Star card is about knowing something within yourself, especially if it's in reverse. But even when it's upright, it's more about knowing like your particular strengths and weaknesses. And even if you aren't particularly happy about what you are good at or what you're not good at, it's a tool, you know, like you know what you're good at and what you're not, so you can move accordingly. So that's kind of what the moon sign will help you understand once you figure out what it is, because then you won't be just going off of, oh, my birthday is this day. You're looking at, okay, even though I show myself as this way, the moon sign is, it's how you react to things. So if you're reacting to things that you're showing, then the moon sign is the one who's actually controlling everything, because the sun sign is just what's being showcased. It's the light. The moon is the dark. All right, so let's move on to these cards that I have here. So these are all literally the moon cards in 3 different decks that I have here. So they're depicted very differently, but that's just because the aura of each deck is different, and the author obviously is different. And so this one literally shows what the moon is about. It's all about this unknown territory, and I've talked about this in quite a few tarot readings that I've done to kind of explain why I love the moon card so much, but why it can also be kind of eerie when you see it. And so as you can see around her head, there's this illumination of a moon crescent. So it is not yet full. So it means it's not yet it's not fully enlightened. I think that's also very important to understand. The moon doesn't mean that you're going to know everything all at one time. And the moon doesn't mean that you're going to understand yourself to full capacity just because you know what sign you are and your moon placement. It does mean that you will know what you're comfortable with. And I just feel like there's so much to be said about that. But the moon is here as well. And so as you can see, it's a very abstract picture. It's almost like everything is just intertwining together. And as you can see at the top, it has Pisces here. Pisces is not ruled by the moon, but Pisces is very reminiscent of the moon's energy, because it's all about going with the flow and aligning yourself with other things so that everything else makes sense. I don't know if that fell into the language and grammatically correct so you guys can understand it, but it's all about going with the flow, and that's what the moon is about. The moon changes every 2 days. It doesn't literally change, but it goes through each zodiac sign every 2 days. It transitions. And so with that being said, it's constantly changing, it's constantly adapting. So that's why Cancer is ruled by the moon, because Cancer shows how we are constantly changing and initiating new ways of feeling. So that's why Cancers are moody, or that's why Cancers are ruled by the 69. It's like the constant flow of what's going on. You understand what I'm saying? And so it's like an internal thing. internally we are not solid, we're liquid, we have all these different things going on inside of us, and they're constantly flowing and moving. And so that is also representation of the internal way that we are experiencing our emotions, you know what I'm saying? And so the moon is just a physical representation of how much the tides can affect us or not affect us in different ways. And your sun sign would just only showcase what you're feeling on the inside. So I hope that's not too like hard to understand. I feel like it's making sense. I mean, if you're this far into the video, you're probably like, you know, spiritually smart enough to know what I'm talking about. And then last but not least, I have this card of the moon card from this particular deck. Now this deck I really do love, just for its depictions. It has that flow that I was talking about, that like everlasting infinity type of energy. So it's like constantly flowing. It never stops. And again, it's represented by Pisces. Oh, this cat. Oh my God. One second. So it's constantly flowing, and it's never ending. But it's also like this cycle. With the constant flow, there's still a cycle. So that's like the cycle of the moon. So you start from new and you go all the way throughout the month until you get to the full moon. And so I think that's important, because it's like, even though everything is happening so quickly, it still takes a certain amount of time just for one step to be completed. So for example, there's so many phases within which the moon shows itself. But at the same time, every 2 days, it changes how it shows itself. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, but I'm trying to make it make as most sense as possible. But the moon is ever changing, and so are you. But at the same time, your moon sign will dictate how you move with how everything else influences you as a person of just the universe in general. So if you can get in touch with that, you can understand why you see your mother in a certain way, why you're uncomfortable with certain things, why you are gravitated towards certain things. And then especially if you look at what house it's in, that's really going to tell you what part of your emotional state gets reflected in which part of your life the most. That if you want to know what your moon sign is, you can just look it up on websites where it tells like your astrology charts and things like that. But if you want like an explanation on actually what your moon sign means and how it can affect you and how it influences you and stuff like that, you can email me at lovefromaleo@gmail.com if you don't feel like waiting, or I'll probably start like a series where I start talking about that. So make sure you sign up for either Patreon, or you just email me if you don't feel like waiting at all, and we can get that set up for you. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to this channel, because I have so many more videos coming and other content that you guys just need to know about. If you want extra readings, or if you want access to just different readings that I have that I don't have on this channel here, you can always go on to patreon.com/lovefromaleo, and you can add me on there, and yeah, join the family, join the spiritual community. And with that being said, I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.